There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. There is just one purpose, there is just one spark, burning in our souls like a candle in the dark. There is just one chorus we all can sing, with one great power let it ring. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. One great power. There is one great power. I said one great power. Oh, one great power. One great power. One great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer. There is one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. One great power everywhere.
Perfect. So I want to thank everybody that's here to bring this service together. We have Robert Anderson for our musician today, and Donna Lynn Watley is bringing prayers for us today. If you'd like to pray with her after service, she'd be happy to do that. Or you can also put a prayer request in the prayer box, and all of the chaplains will be praying on that. And then it goes to Silent Unity, where they pray on it for another 30 days. So I also want to thank Ken Reinhardt. Ken keeps us in order, everything running smoothly. So thank you, Ken. And I'm Lori Smith. I'm the spiritual leader here at Unity on the Avenue. And I want to thank all of you for being here, because you are what this church is all about. Your energy, your presence, your love, your community makes this the wonderful place that it is. So thank you for being here. And just know that whatever background you come from, whatever faith you've been to before, whatever sexual identity or relational identity you are welcome here for our Sunday service and the classes that we have available. So thank you. And we have another wonderful song.
This is kind of a Center for Spiritual Living song, religious science, whatever you want to call it, but I like it. My friend Ricky Byers wrote this along with her husband. If you want to know the secret of life, it's the first line in this song. So sing it with me. We know it, I think. Or you soon will. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, oh. So now we know it. Sing it with gusto. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. We're going to do it a cappella. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes.
That's right. We're only here for God. So let's say our statement of faith. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
This is the day the Lord has given us. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I invite you to settle in your chair, feet firmly on the floor. Stomp your feet just a little bit and feel the energy rise up your legs. Hold a strong but gentle posture, which is a show of strength and courage. Our thoughts create the world. Breathe in powerful love for yourself. Breathe out peace. Breathe out courage. Breathe out patience, trust, and faith that all is well for each of us, for our loved ones, our country, Mother Earth. With intention, focus on the deep knowing of the heart, a spiritual assurance, the power to make the possible real. Act intentionally, for positive expectancy is a positive force. Claim the power of divine spirit. It is already at work in your life. Rest in the silence. Feel the power of gratitude. Choose to live mindfully and give thanks. So it is, amen. 2 Timothy 1, chapter 7, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So it is.
I love writing songs. when the storms are all around me and I cannot feel the sun, and I begin to lose my courage and the negative thoughts go on and on. That's when I stop, change my mind, maybe sing a little song. I think positive. Yeah, 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 think positive. Well, I start by being grateful for all I have and all I am, and I concentrate on sending love to everything and everyone I can. And I ask, how can I help you? How can I lend a hand? I think positive. Yeah, 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 think positive. Oh. And if someone should ask me for the secret, I say, it's here and now for anyone. I know that all is possible, and I call it into me. I can see it, I can feel it, I believe it, I receive it, it is done. So if thoughts create our feelings and all we say and do, and we are like a magnet then, attracting what we hold as true, then I choose peace and happiness and let it shine through. I think positive. Yeah, 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 think positive. Someone should ask me for the secret, I say, it's here and now for anyone. I know that all is possible, so I call it into me. I can see it, I can feel it, I believe it, I receive it, it is done. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can see it, I can feel it, I believe it, it is done. I can see it, I believe it, I receive it, it is done. I can see it, I can feel it, I believe it, yeah, yeah, I think positive. Oh, I think positive. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That was perfect for today. Feels like you wrote it for the talk today. So I would like to start off with a joke. We're going to keep things light. I want to tell you about a monk, a young monk who went to a monastery, and he took a vow of silence. But every 3 years, he was able to go back to the head monk, and he was able to say 2 words. So after 3 years, the head monk says, "What have you to say? What 2 words do you have for me?" And he says, "Too cold." So the head monk says, okay. He thinks about that, and he hands out blankets to everybody to make it just a little more comfortable. Another 3 years goes by, and the young monk comes to him, and the head monk says, "What have you to say today?" And he says, "Bad food." So the head monk thinks about this, and he talks to the chef, and they try to spruce that up a little bit, a little more options for everybody. So the next time, after 3 years, the young monk comes to the head monk, and the head monk says, "What do you have to say today?" And he says, "I quit." And the head monk says, "I am not surprised. All you've done is complain since you've been here." So today we're actually talking about voice and the energy of the voice. That's interesting how that goes. But it's the art of self-mastery, embracing your spiritual authority. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, identified 12 spiritual powers, which Divine Spirit has given to us to be called upon for assistance for every life situation. These powers include faith, strength, wisdom, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zeal, elimination, and life. So they each have a specific purpose, an energy center in the body, usually associated with a color. And all of the 12 powers can be used to improve our material life, and they can also be cultivated as a spiritual power for inner transformation. Although they all work together as one in our best interest, we have focused on one at a time just to have a better understanding of the role that they play in our lives. My hope is that you will be inspired by these powers and the truths that they hold to begin making conscious choices about how and when you might want to use these powers. They allow us to more fully express our divine nature and to become a greater version of ourselves. The goal for us is to learn to use these powers from the most elevated level of consciousness for the most desirable outcome. Each month this year, we have highlighted one of the 12 powers, and today we'll explore, it's actually called the power of power, which is a little bit confusing for many people, so it is also called the power of mastery. This is about our ability to control how we show up in the world, especially when we're having some challenging situations around us. And I believe it is greatly impacted by our awareness of our connection with Divine Spirit. This power gives us the ability to claim mastery over our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our words, and to affirm spiritual authority. The color for this power is purple. The energy center for this power is the throat at the back of the tongue, where our voice box is, and it is released consciously by speaking words of truth. The disciple that represents this power is Philip, and after the resurrection and ascension of Jesus, Philip became noted for his ability to speak the message of truth. He traveled to various places. He was very influential because of his talks. And in the Bible, it says on one occasion in Samaria, it was reported that the multitudes with one accord gave heed to what was said by Philip when they heard him and saw the signs that he gave them. We can use this power to master new ideas and concepts. We can also use it to control unwanted thoughts, feelings, or beliefs which may interfere with our ability to master those new ideas. Toxic thoughts are self-perpetuating and often activate the fear response. If you do not have the life and the relationships that you want, you have the power to change your thinking patterns and to create a more positive emotional state. So this is a story about John. He found himself alone one holiday season. He and his wife, Meg, had finally realized they can no longer live together and they were simply growing apart. They decided to divorce. John learned that Meg had planned a vacation to Florida with their 2 daughters without him. John had failed to make any plans for the holidays on his own simply because he wasn't thinking ahead and had been busy with his business career. Christmas Day arrived with a thud, and as he woke up alone and disheartened, he couldn't see how he was going to make it through the day. No tree, no gifts, no turkey, most especially no family to share it with that day. He decided to go on a bike ride. It might be a good way to soothe his lamenting soul. And as he rode through the city streets of Houston, Texas, he saw children outside playing with their new toys. He saw Christmas lights left on in the daylight, and he saw homeless individuals huddled under freeway overpasses, living in boxes and sleeping in torn and tattered sleeping bags, scarcely warm enough to allow one to rest comfortably. John felt very alone, as his family had gone ahead to where they would eventually be moving. After wrestling for hours, as he had also wrestled with the decision to separate from Meg, he finally asked for Divine Spirit to bless him. No struggle is too small or too great to receive a blessing from Spirit. He just needed to turn within to the power and the presence of Spirit and know that he was not alone. A sense of peace filled his heart. An idea came to mind to solve his dilemma. He realized that it was not too late to save Christmas Day. He rode his bike to his home as fast as he could, changed into something festive. He had an old Santa hat and a maroon silk shirt and put those on. He thought that might do the trick for him today. And he drove to the local Salvation Army. They were just beginning to serve Christmas dinner, and it was to the homeless population in Houston, and they were so glad to see him, and he was so glad to see them. Years later, John reflected on that day and realized he'd had a spiritual awakening when he chose to turn away from self-pity or self-absorption and look instead inwardly toward Divine Spirit. He found peace and blessings beyond what he could ever imagine. The answer to any problem can always be found in turning away from the difficulty and turning toward Divine Spirit. It's through prayer and receptivity to Divine Spirit that we receive power to change our thoughts and our feelings and release good into the world. Some people find it difficult to take control of their thoughts. It was in Power Up Your Life by Paul Hasselbeck. You may recognize that name, and Cher Holton and Bill Holton. They share a metaphor to make this point. Imagine that you are sitting on the steps leading to your front porch. A car comes by. Someone in the car says, "Get in," and you get in. You don't know where the car's going or who the people are, but you get in anyway. Later that day, you're sitting on the porch, and an SUV drives by. Someone in the SUV says, "Get in," and so you get in. You're not sure where it's going, who the people are, how long it will take, but you get in anyway. Later that day, you are sitting on the steps to the front porch, and again a truck comes by. What's happening is you are just following blindly. Suppose the vehicles represent your thoughts. Just because they drive by in your mind doesn't mean you have to go with them. So often we live our lives on autopilot, or we might find ourselves just going round and around with problems and negative thoughts. Self-mastery is our capacity to guide our thoughts and our words and our actions in integrity with our infinite self, and it's valued in every religious discipline. It gives us the ability to live our lives fully conscious and in control. You might remember Reverend Shad Groverland. He came to our church one time, and he gave a talk about what we expose our minds to and how that impacts our state of mind. What we put into our minds is as important as the food we choose to eat. If we practice what Buddhists call unwise attention and attend to TV, articles on the computer, on our phones that are full of violence or greed or fear, these qualities fester within us. And sometimes I notice I don't sleep all that well that evening too. It just kind of stays with you a little bit. I know if I watch too much negative news, I can feel my mood change. So it's important to recognize, what am I thinking about? And what am I feeling? And to remember that we have that capacity, we have that power to change thoughts and feelings by choosing where we put our attention. If we practice wise attention and we are careful to select healthier TV shows or podcasts, readings, maybe being with healthy friends, cultivating healthy states of mind, it can really change how we feel about things. And the Apostle Paul advises, which happens to be my favorite scripture, what is true, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So Emmett Fox was a New Thought spiritual leader who was a popular minister in New York in like 1930s. He wrote a practical process for getting out of a troublesome situation. The mistake, he said, made by many people is that we go through book after book or like self-help books and we don't get anywhere. The process, called the Golden Key, involves doing work in one's consciousness. He assures us that if you follow the directions and if you are persistent, you will be able to overcome any difficulty. Divine Spirit is omnipotent, and man was made in his likeness and image. Emmett Fox states that it is the inspired teaching. Every man has the ability to draw on this power. It's not just mystics or saints or highly trained practitioners. Whoever one is, wherever one may be, the golden key to harmony is available to each and every one of us. This is because in prayer, it is Divine Spirit who is doing the work and not us. You are only the channel through which the divine action takes place. And your task will really be just getting yourself out of the way. Spirit will do the work. You only need to have an open mind and faith to try this experiment. It's a simple method. All you have to do is stop thinking about the difficulty, which sometimes is not so simple, but we can practice that. And whatever it is, think about Divine Spirit instead. If you do this, the trouble, whatever it is, will disappear. Don't try to form a picture of Divine Spirit, which is impossible. Just think about everything you know about Spirit. Divine Spirit is wisdom and truth and love, present everywhere, has infinite power, and knows everything. You can go over these things repeatedly. You don't look over your shoulder and see how things are coming along, because then you're thinking about the difficulty, so you don't want to do that. You drive the thought of the difficulty right out of your consciousness for a few moments at least. And then you substitute that for the thoughts about Divine Spirit. You can golden key a troublesome person or difficult situation by replacing the thought of the person with thoughts of Divine Spirit, thereby preventing the person from causing you injury or annoyance, and the person is better off as well. So I wasn't consciously thinking about trying this out, but it actually worked very well for me. I used to work with a person many years ago who seemed to put a lot of energy into undermining me. And it happened pretty frequently. And now and then when something reminds me of this person, I get the feeling of being annoyed. And so I decided to try this golden key process with my own experiment. And I will tell you, something amazing happened to me. And this was just a few days ago. I all of a sudden recalled a situation that I'd totally forgotten about. But there was a time when this particular person did something very kind for me at a time when I really needed extra support. A family member was ill. My husband, Scott, and I were trying to travel back and forth to support them. Mostly we were flying just so that we didn't miss so much work. And, sorry, this really means a lot to me. This person put a basket on my desk. She was the lady that I worked with. And in the basket, she had gone to so much trouble to place a particular book. This person, that our family member, had cancer. And this book was positive stories about people that had gone through cancer and had gone on to live an awesome life. So she'd picked out this book. She put a really soft, beautiful blanket in the basket. She filled it with cards from my coworkers. She put, there were even gift cards to help us with travel. And just the support of everyone around me, wanting to know how we were doing, how our family member was doing, was so much appreciated. I appreciated it so much. And after I had this thought, that was the feeling that I had in my heart, was a great amount of gratitude for all the work that she had gone to help me to feel better. And it did. So you can repeat the golden key process several times a day. Each time you follow this process, drop all thought of the matter until the next time. You can repeat statements of truth such as there is only one power in the universe, divine spirit, I am a child of God, divine spirit is always with me. Be insistent. Each time you find your attention wandering, bring it back to divine spirit. And don't try to think what the solution will be. Just leave the ways and the means to spirit. You will be raising your consciousness as you engage in something positive. You can read the Bible or any spiritual book. Unity has many spiritual books. Sing hymns, read poems, use affirmations, or just concentrate gently on spiritual truth. When we raise our consciousness, we allow spirit to guide our thoughts, our emotions, infuse our words with spiritual energy. There is power in the words that we say. Our thoughts and words bring things into manifestation. So sometimes we may say things like, I'm so tired, or I'm broke this week. But if we don't want these things to be manifested, don't say them. Our co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, said, never make an assumption, no matter how true it may look on the surface, that you do not want to see manifest in your life. Many years ago, our son was looking for his first home, and he was discouraged by the prices of the homes, and it seemed like he was going to give up his search. He was feeling truly very discouraged. He said, I'm never going to find something that I can afford. I told him that I believed he would find something that he liked and that he could afford, and to just keep an open mind. So he continued his search, and he did find a nice home and that he was able to afford. The secret is to replace negative, self-defeating statements with the life-affirming statements. Like, what do you want to see in your life? You are the architect of your life. What do you want to create? Remember, there is energy in the words we think, say, and write. What energy do you want to put out to the universe? Is it aligned with your vision? Self-mastery is a claiming of our self-determination. Sometimes we see ourselves victims of life or victim of another person's dominating our circumstances. In a sense, this is giving our power over to another. In unity, we take responsibility for the choices we make, and we can study self-mastery to respect ourselves, to trust ourselves, and to be self-determining. We can be assertive of what is mine to do without being aggressive. We are the captains of our ship. We create our own destiny. I've heard that people are active on Facebook. It's not something I've mastered, but I know that many people are very active, and usually it's positive messages that I hear about. On occasion, it's not so positive and sometimes sounds a little judgmental. Social media is an interesting form of communication. It can be positive and heartwarming, but it seems people are a little bolder at writing opinions that can be divisive. While we need to speak our truth as we know it, we need to consider how this communication is being received and how it impacts these people's lives that are reading our messages. There are times that people express something negative to us, and whether it's in writing or in person, the question is, how do we respond? We may feel disappointed or upset or angry. We can shoot right back with our thoughts and negative feelings, or we can use our power of self-mastery, pause to consider what was said and what the situation was that was communicated. So often people say things without thinking, especially when there's a lot of emotion involved. And often after people calm down, you hear things like, I didn't really mean that, or I didn't express that very well. The power of self-mastery guides our words and actions in integrity with our infinite self instead of reacting from human or egoic impulses. Keeping calm, listening, being thoughtful about one's response often brings about a more thoughtful, compassionate response. Through the practice of self-control, we develop poise. It's a word you don't hear too often, but it pretty much describes what we're able to accomplish. It is controlled spiritual power, energy that is ready to be released for a chosen activity at an appropriate time in an appropriate way. As we exercise authority over our thoughts, words, and actions, we gain a sense of self-confidence, being balanced, stable, and able to move with ease and dignity. When we think about chess players, one person makes a move and the other player looks at the whole board. You can see how much they're concentrating there. The whole situation before they make their next move. It would not be a good strategy to immediately make a move without taking in the whole situation. And we can do that too. By just remembering who we are. We are each a child of God with a divine essence. We have the innate powers available to help us navigate all life situations with ease and grace. Rumi wrote a poem about inviting in all life situations as they have been sent to us for a purpose. It's called the guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furnitures. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. There is a book that we use for unity that gives us definitions of different words and helps guide us. And it defines authority as inspired by the Spirit within. Jesus' spiritual authority did not come from his personality or his intellect. His authority came from divine spirit, his source of inner wisdom. It was Jesus' presence more than his words by which people caught a glimpse of their true nature. So we too can embody spiritual authority when we shift into a consciousness of spiritual service. We can sense the distinction between our human personality and our divine identity directed into service. Another word that was defined is the presence of divine spirit as the awareness of spirit within one's own being. It manifests as increased life, peace, love, and a deep sense of spiritual joy. We've all had moments when we experience the awareness of spirit, resulting in a deep sense of inner peace. It may be during a prayer or meditation, or it might be taking a walk in nature. For me, shifting into a consciousness of spiritual joy brings a great sense of joy. Sacred service in all forms, like fills my cup and I feel more alive. We can be the presence, so solidly standing in our truth that others feel empowered to experience their wholeness and their well-being. When others are discouraged, we can encourage them with the truth of their divine identity. When they are worried about finances, we can remind them of their blessings. The practice of using our power of self-mastery brings about a transformation from within, and it is manifested out to the world as we show up to whatever life situations are sent to us. grounded and anchored in our connection to spirit, with a sense of self-confidence, compassion, joy, and peace. Using our power of self-mastery, we discover the truth within us, and we express it with spiritual authority. So let's take that into a time of meditation. I just invite you to relax in your chair. Allow it to support you in a comfortable position. Breathe in a few deep breaths. And with each exhalation, release any tension, concerns, or negative thoughts. Breathe gently and easily, noticing the rhythm of your breath. We quiet our minds and become still, allowing this feeling of peace and comfort to relax every muscle in your body, from the crown of your head to your jaw, neck, shoulders, chest, arms, torso, legs, and into your feet grounded to the floor. Turning within to the sacred space where we are centered in spirit. We move our thoughts into a holy place of stillness and peace. Divine love and peace fills my heart, radiating out to the sanctuary in our community. I am the power of concentration, self-mastery, and spiritual authority. My source of power is divine power. I control the power and the energy of my thoughts, my words, my actions. I am calm and thoughtful in all situations. Ever-flowing positive energy permeates my mind and being as we listen for the still, small voice in the silence. I am present. I am the light. I am love. As you return to this room, begin to hear the sounds around you and gently stretch. Open your eyes when you are ready. I rejoice in this insight and new way of seeing who I am and all that I can do to be the light of the world. As we become fully present with this lingering joy, we are revitalized with the love and the energy to do what is ours to do. And so it is. Amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
So now is the time for an opportunity to support Unity on the Avenue. All the money that you donate goes to paying some of the bills that we have, but we also donate to other nonprofits, and we could do a lot of good in the work with our finances. And we very much appreciate everything that you're able to donate, not only with your finances, but on many of the teams that we have in our church going on right now, we have a lot of people donating time and their gifts. So we appreciate that very much. You can donate through checks or cash. There's a square in the back, or you can donate online. So join me in our blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. And before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. This is how I start my day, knowing good is on the way. Each day unfolds as it should when I focus on the good. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. And before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing.
The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
You don't have to wait till the end of the song. There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share.